I want to start the show with this because I know it's what a lot of people are here to talk about, and I'm curious your thoughts on it. We still don't have a Pac-12 TV deal. We really have no idea where that deal is going to end up, although sources have told us repeatedly it's ESPN and Amazon. Sources have told us repeatedly it's capped at $25 million. I think it's going to be 5 years. We'll see. But we don't have a firm grasp on where the Pac-12 is financially. Who's in a better position, the Pac-12 or the Big 12? Listen, very clearly, it's the Big 12. They have long-term financial stability. But let's not make it out like the Big 12 is the greatest conference in all of college football, and they have absolutely nothing to worry about. I think it's a lot closer, Jake, than people make it out to be. And I don't think the Big 12 is that much better off than the Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really easy to pick on the Pac-12 right now. And look, I'm not going to sit here and advocate that the Pac-12 is somehow in some better position. And I think we need to define that just right out of the gate here. This conversation isn't about whether the Pac-12 is in a better position, right? Like, notice the title of the show is who is safer, the Big 12 or the Pac-12. And you can make a really strong case that right now, right here today on, March 1st at 3:06 Mountain Time, that, yeah, the Big 12 is in a little bit stronger of a position because they have the media rights deal. They're $31 million a year. Like, yeah, sure, you have that deal done. But if you really stop and you take your pride out of it and you just really look at the situation, what happens if the Big Ten tomorrow came out and said, hey, Baylor, hey, any school in the Big 12, whatever school you want to name, TCU, hey, we've got X amount to pay you every single year, right, as part of our TV deal. This is how much more you're going to make than what you're on right now. We'll give you, let's say the number's $50 million. Hey, we'll give you 19 million more to be exact, right? Than you're getting in the Big 12. Well, if that was the case, then all of a sudden everyone wouldn't be sitting here saying that the Big 12 is in some super secure position. So yesterday on the program, we were kind of talking about this. Nobody's saying the Pac-12 is in a better position than the Big 12. Nobody's certainly saying that the Pac-12 has some stable future and the Big 12 is a dumpster fire. All we're simply saying is that the Big 12, the fate of the Big 12 could change at a moment's notice once the Big 10 hires a commissioner, and if the SEC ever gets super serious after Texas and Oklahoma join about expansion. It's really that simple.
Yeah, and I think financially, everybody wants to point to the numbers. You're not going to have equality financially. I mean, you're not going to make the $100 million per school that Big Ten schools are going to realize in 2025. I don't think either one of these conferences is going to get near the baseline $51 million that the SEC is going to realize in their new TV deal. And when we talk about incremental raises, one of the big comments this morning on Twitter and YouTube was, oh, well, how can you say that the Big 12's not better off? They got a raise in their new TV deal. They got a very small raise. You want to talk about raises? Look at that number on the screen right there. $51 million. Do you understand that in TV alone, the SEC went from $55 million to $300 million?
I'm for real.
But you guys, this is not even a conversation. And so it comes to the Big 12. And again, we're not sitting here smearing the Big 12. We're not under any circumstance telling you that the Big 12's a dumpster fire or that, the Pac-12's in a better position. I'm not saying that by any way, shape, or form. But what I'm telling you is don't make the same mistake the Pac-12's made. Don't let your pride and your arrogance prevent you from understanding who you are and where you are. And when I look at the Big 12, you need to win more football games. That's just a baseline. And you need to cripple the Pac-12. You want to survive, you want to make more money, you want to have long-term viability, you need to cripple the Pac-12.
Facts.
And I know that Brett Yormark has said straight away, the commissioner of the Big 12, we're not competing. Yes, you are competing with the Pac-12. Because the bottom line is, if this goes on and none of the Pac-12 teams go to the Big 12, which right now I'm telling you they're not, at this moment, looking to get to the Big 12. But let's say in 2 years from now, 6 months from now, if you don't have teams from the Pac-12 going to the Big 12, the likelihood every single day is that the Pac-12 and the ACC merge. If that happens, the Big 12 is in a world of hurt. I'm just telling you that now because the already crappy conference, while they make almost no money, they have brands that could really help who's left in the Pac-12 get to a secondary level above where the Big 12 is. So it's not like you're locked in. And it does not matter to me in any way, shape, or form that you're this unbelievable basketball conference, because basketball isn't paying the bills. What's paying the bills is winning football games and going to the college football playoff. That's what's moving the needle. It's why you made more money this year, because TCU went on and won a playoff game and played in a second. That's why you made more money. The issue becomes, in my opinion, when you're only at $31 million as a baseline for your TV deal, you've got to have multiple 2, 3 teams in this expanded college football playoff. And I think that's going to be very difficult to do, frankly, because I do think the Big 12 is a very difficult conference to navigate for recruiting. And I say that because I look at the skill positions, I look at the wide receivers, I look at the secondary. Hell, I even look at the quarterbacks, and I say to myself, how many Big 12 quarterbacks are thriving in the NFL? How many Big 12 wide receivers are thriving in the NFL? How many Big 12 corner and safeties are thriving in the NFL? It's a handful. Mm-hmm. It is not a lot. And when when we talk about Big 12 versus Pac-12, where's Caleb Williams? Because Caleb Williams a year from now is probably going to get ready to be the number 1 pick in the draft, right, or close to the top, because that kid is universally respected. And you look at the SEC, look at the top of the leaderboard in the SEC, man. How many of the quarterbacks and the D linemen and the edge rushers, and we're going to talk about Jalen Carter obviously today, but you look at Jalen Carter, you look at Will Smith, you look at all these guys, we're really heavy in the SEC. When it comes to defense, edge rushers, D tackles, you look at SEC wide receivers, I mean, they're all over the NFL. But you look at Big 12, and I think the Big 12 has to start recruiting up. I think the Big 12 has to start coaching up. And I think the Big 12, if they really want to bury the Pac-12, get multiple teams into the college football playoff, because that's when you really start to double down on your money.
Well, and let's not forget about this factor on the point you're making, that the Pac-12 has actually done a decent job on the football field. I mean, you look at, the top 10 and you look at, those rankings, and the Pac-12 actually had a pretty solid year, and look, I know that the Pac-12 is a mess, like 100%. Like, the Pac-12 is absolutely a dumpster fire and a mess, but you could make a case that the Pac-12 on the football field is better than the Big 12. And I know TCU went to the college football playoff. I get that, and I respect that. But what I'm telling you is that the Big 12 is in a good position right now today. But this concept looking forward about the Big 10 and the SEC swallowing everybody up and just doing battle every single year is not that far down the road. 5 years in college football goes by in the blink of an eye, man. Like you just said, Caleb Williams is going to be getting ready for the draft, right? Like, before we know it. So to me, I just look at this and I say, man, like, I understand that Big 12 fans and supporters and the folks in Stillwater are pissed. I get it. You're upset. You're a red ass about it. I understand. I get it. But you can't deny the fact that while, yes, you have a TV deal, it's not like you're getting 50 a year. You're getting 31 a year. That's not a terrible number, but it's not a great one.
Look at this graphic. Look at this graphic and let this graphic tell you a story. Because you look at just the Big 10, look at all the way at the bottom of this graphic. Big 10 basketball gets a 6-year deal for $10 million. Like, I mean, you're getting a secondary deal for Big 10 basketball for $10 million, right? Like, that was their deal, and that expires now. And then you go all the way to the top, and they renewed for $8 billion, dude. Like, I
thought you said $8 billion.
Well, hey, like, are you serious right now?
I thought you said they renewed for $1 for every person on planet Earth, bro.
All I would say is look at the far right column, average value, and look at the disparity between the haves and the have-nots. And you start looking at $710 million for the SEC on ESPN, all the way down to $250 million at the Pac-12. So if the Pac-12 comes in at $250 million, that's $25 million a school. That would be a win. You look at the ACC at $240 million. You look at the Big Ten on Fox, like that's their deal expiring. They're already at $240 million. This is what I'm trying to point out to people. Look at the Big 12. The Big 12's current deal is already, what is that, $800 million behind the Big Ten. Those are numbers that are really hard to overcome. So when we sit here and we want to crush the Pac-12 and Big 12 fans, I'm just telling you, you're not in a bad spot, but if you don't think you're vulnerable, I don't think you understand the landscape.
Those are rookie
I don't
numbers
think
in
you
this
understand the landscape of college football. I truly don't. If you don't think you're vulnerable, I don't think you understand the landscape. That these expiring deals in the Big Ten are worth more than the deals you have now is insanity to me. Their deal that's expiring is worth your current deal. It's worth more than your current deal. And you're $500 million behind on your renegotiated deal. I said $500 million behind.
Shame.
That means you're vulnerable because we all do it, right? We all do this. You know it. I know it. We do it at work. We do it with wives and cars and dogs.
Right.
Well, their dog's nicer than mine. His wife, wow. Look at her. Has she always been that stacked? Like, that's what happens. Well, what do you mean the Big Ten's on the phone? Here, let me take that call. You're not asking your secretary to take a message. Your personal assistant, hey, take a message. It's a Big Ten. Take a message. No, bro.
We're not available now.
Go. Hey, I'm going to have to go, honey. Click. Hey, Commissioner of the Big Ten, whoever you're going to be. What can we do for you?
Bojan.
Right? Like, yeah. Hey, Bojan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're taking the call from them. You're taking the call from the SEC. And all of this discussion about the Big Ten going to 20, if the Big Ten wants to go to 20 and they call, who's the best football team they call TCU.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Is
come on.
TCU saying no to the Big Ten?
No.
Who's the best team? Like, creme de la creme, take your pick. Best team in the SEC. Georgia. If the Big Ten calls Georgia, is Georgia leaving the SEC? They're not. Is Alabama leaving they're not. Old boy Texas A, they're not. Ole Miss, no, they're not leaving either. But if you call TCU, who's making $31 million, and you're like, hey, man, we can offer you a $70 million raise.
By the way, I think another interesting point of this, too, isn't it true that brands in the Big 12 like TCU would be better secondary Big 10 brands than Stanford and Cal and, these Pac-12 brands? Now, I'm not saying that the Big 10 wouldn't add Stanford and Cal, but when you really look at this, if you put yourself at the top of the food chain and look down at everybody, isn't the Big 12, don't they have more attractiveness? Wouldn't you, if you're the Big 10 and you look around and you're like, yeah, we've got already Crown Clemson, we've got
Florida State, North Carolina.
Florida State, UNC, but TCU, Baylor, right? Like Kansas, like Oklahoma State.
And you know what? I'll even go back to the story of many years ago that all the Utah fans were all upset about when I said, hey, USC and Texas have talked to BYU about forming their own conference. And it was like, that's never going to happen. They're staying in the Pac-12. Where's USC now? Where's Texas now? Where's BYU now? They're all in different places, man. Change happens. It's inevitable. And Austin Napierski, dude, where is his comment? Austin Napierski. We've got a lot of comments. I appreciate you all. Ace says, y'all know I have nothing but love for you, but as a loyal consumer of your media, I'm legitimately burned out on this conference talk. So am I.
What do you want to talk about?
But no, it's not even what do you want to talk about. There's no doubt that on our channel in the last 6 weeks, the Big 12, Pac-12 conversation has stirred the drink. It mixed in with some NBA trade deadline, mixed in with some Utah Jazz. If you go and look at the watch numbers on our channel for content, this is what people are asking us to talk about. This is what people on Twitter want to hear us talk about. This is what people in the YouTube comments want us to talk about. So I do not disagree with you, man. Like, I am burned out as hell on Big 12 versus Pac-12. And what is the Pac-12 going to do? And we have called every source that we have. We have called everybody that we know to try and find different angles and new information. And everybody's just sitting here waiting for the Pac-12 to collapse. They're waiting. I was talking to a guy in Los Angeles last night who said, we just need George Kliavkoff to fail and everything will be in motion. Talking about, hey, like this is a USC alum that I know. He's like, hey, man, Stanford's going to the Big Ten. They're coming with us. Like, say they're coming with us as soon as they fail. That's a tough part. Like, we're listening to a podcast today with John Arand, the respected media journalist for Sports Business Journal, and Andrew Marchand from the New York Post, talking about how Live Golf got crushed by the PGA. Like, how many people are here to talk about Live Golf ratings? Like, nobody is here to talk about Live Golf ratings. I guarantee you, of the 246 people, most people are here to talk about the Big 12 and the Pac-12. Mm-hmm. And I get it. It's a huge story. We're in Utah, and it is a massive story amongst Pac-12 fans. Mm-hmm. It's a massive story. And Austin, I'm with you, dude. I wish it would come to an end. I do wish it would come to an end. So speaking of which, let's go all the way back to the top. And you guys have been flipping fantastic on comments today. As usual, Mike Chase, the first one in. I would think right now it's the Big 12, more members and a TV deal that's already done. I don't think anybody would argue with that, Mike. I think the Big 12 is on much stabler ground, but I think it's just as vulnerable as the Pac-12 is. That's how I would say it. If the Big 12 wants to exist, they'll exist. I don't know that I can say that for the Pac-12 because I just don't think there's an appetite for their content. And as we've said many times on this show, we have been told by sources at ESPN, by other sources in the TV industry network, that ESPN has no desire to carry Tier 1 rights for the Pac-12. I mean, we told you in August that Fox was out on being a Tier 1 partner and really even a Tier 2 partner taking like the second or third best game in the conference. They're out on that with the Pac-12 because they've got their hands full. They want a very little bit of Pac-12 basketball. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they want. And I think that's what they're going to get because they've got the Big 10 and they have got the Big 12. And the Big 10 just has so many games that you're going to get Purdue, Indiana. You're going to get Purdue, Notre Dame. You're going to get the secondary programs that are the Minnesotas right now. And I don't know what Luke Fickell does at Wisconsin, but you're going to get the Wiscos, the Minnesotas, the Indianas, the Purdues. You're going to get that stuff on Fox right now. And I'm fine with that, but you're not going to get it on CBS. And the late game on NBC when that deal kicks in, you're not getting that. You're getting a really good game on NBC, probably featuring UCLA and USC.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're getting. Lopes Van Gabe says show number 900. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot of shows, dude.
Isn't it, Gabe? Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks in Arizona. Purple Hayes says, in all honesty, the Big 12 is safer than the Pac-12 by far. Oh, I disagree. See, the problem is I don't think what makes the Big 12 safer?
Well, people just say that they have a media deal and they have more members. That's what everyone what is his reasoning? What does it say?
They did what they needed to do to remain competitive. Also, basketball, though may not be football, is a rising revenue sport. I don't even disagree with that. They are just as vulnerable as the Pac-12 is.
Yeah.
The Big 12 is just as vulnerable. That to me is, I don't know. Agreed with what comment last week?
Keep going up. He's on this whole rant about how you reverse course and how
Jackson Graham is?
Jackson Graham, yeah.
All right, where is Jackson Graham? Jackson Graham says Big 12 Bash Fest. The next week, Big 12 is the best. I haven't changed my opinion on this at all. frankly, we just haven't talked about, we have been so focused on the Pac-12 that the other day I was talking to a guy, in Lake Tahoe, when we were in Tahoe at Heavenly, I was talking to a guy a couple of weeks ago, talking to a guy about how the Big 12 may have gone to market early and given themselves some solid footing, but that they're really vulnerable to other conferences. And that if the Big 10 or the SEC came calling, or if a new super conference is formed, a la the Pac-12 and the ACC or something crazy like that.
Right.
It would be very difficult for any member of the Big 12 not to answer the phone. It'd be very difficult. Now, it's programs like Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's not leaving the Big 12. That I just don't see that happening. But if you're Kansas, if you're K-State, and you are where you are, and the Big 10 calls and says, hey, man, we'd really like to add Kansas and K-State to the Big 10. We really respect what you guys do in basketball, and look how well you've done the last year in football. Let's get you in here. We'll start you at $65 million. No, actually, you know what? Let's go 30. We'll start you at $64 million. That's fully double what you're getting in the Big 12. Are you telling me that Kansas and Kansas State don't at least have the conversation and have to seriously entertain it?
How do you not entertain it?
Because what is the top of the mountain? Let's say that you get 2-3 teams into the expanded college football playoff. You're probably $60 million in cash paid out. Let's be conservative and say $50 million. Any of those conferences can offer you significantly more than the best case scenario for the Big 12.
Right.
This doesn't mean the Big 12 is a bad conference. This doesn't mean the Big 12's failing. This doesn't mean that the Big 12's doing poorly.
Mm-hmm.
What have I said? The Big 12 is just as vulnerable as the Pac-12. Why is that lighting your village on fire?
I think that people get upset about this concept because for, a year, probably, going on a year maybe, I don't know exactly how long, the media and the narrative has been that the Pac-12 is struggling to get this TV deal done. And obviously we've been talking about it a lot, but I think the reason that fans get so pissed about it is because they're like, well, how could you say that the Big 12 is just as vulnerable as the Pac? We have a TV deal. We have 12 members. We have basketball. Because at the end of the day, what you can't get away from, and you can tell yourself a story if it helps you sleep at night, but what you can't get away from is what my guy just said. If whoever the next commissioner of the Big 10 calls, Brett Yormark, let's say, and hammers out a merger, you're done. You're a Big 10 member. If they go to schools, if they call any of those schools, you're done. They're going. It's that simple. So, you can be upset, and I'm not trying to red ass you, but the fact is, the reality is, it's a dog-eat-dog world.
Yes,
the Big 10 has more money. The SEC has more money, and that's it. Everyone else can kick sand.
And I think you just look at any of these conferences. If you look at if you look at any of the P5s, there's room for improvement in every one of these conferences. I look at the already crappy conference known as the ACC. What is it that you're excited about in the ACC? Garbage. Because you and I both know that Clemson is winning the Atlantic every single year until somebody pulls the jar down and takes the balls out and puts them back on an FSU head coach. Until FSU gets back to Prime and Bowden, I don't know. They were 5-3 last year, and their defense was actually really good, and they couldn't win all of their home games, right? So I look at North Carolina. How is North Carolina 3-3 at home and 6-0 on the road? This conference, even your best teams in the Coastal are flipping dysfunctional.
Right.
Okay, well, this is a basketball conference. Yeah, you're damn right it is. Shire makes history at Duke, winning all of his home games. This is a basketball conference now. That if we're being really honest about the ACC, but if the Big 10 called Florida State, we're willing to help you with that buyout. I know you guys are going to make $13 on your TV deal. $13 total. I know you guys are going to make X amount on your TV, $18 or $20 million. How is Florida State saying no? How is, if you are the Big Ten, do you not call North Carolina and Florida State? Do you not call Virginia, West Virginia? Or Virginia and Virginia Tech, Like, there's real value in the ACC. And once this Pac-12 thing happens, I think you're going to see the dogs are going to be hungry. Mm-hmm. And we're going to find out, what do they say in the Batman? We're going to find out how loyal a hungry dog really is.
Yeah.
Because they will eat each other.
Mm-hmm.
They will eat each other. And I don't want to hear about Duke and Carolina, and I don't want to hear about the Virginias. And, dude, when it's $100 million, I'm answering the phone.
Damn right.
I'm answering the phone. And I will, again, the Big 12, if you're the Big 12, who's the worst team in the Big 12 right now? Iowa State, probably?
Probably, yeah.
What were they, 1-8 last year? The Big 10 calls Iowa State, and I guarantee you there's a Big 12 fan listening to shows like, good, let them go. It doesn't work that way, bro. You and I both know it.
Yeah.
Oh, good, let them go. Iowa State's going to make $70 million. You're going to make 31.7, and you're just saying let them go.
1-8 team's going to make 70 mil.
Come on. West Virginia, Kansas. I mean, what about Baylor? Baylor's a hell of a brand right now. Baylor's a recent national champion in basketball. Are you telling me if the SEC called Baylor today? I know we have a ton of Baylor fans that listen to the show. You're telling me if the SEC called Baylor today and said, hey, we're taking you in Texas Tech. You guys want to come over? Please.
Let's settle this right now.
They'll put their shit in the back of Texas's moving van and drive out there with them.
Moving van? They'll get the F-550 dually out.
I shouldn't joke about moving vans because people are like, hey, man, we're not moving our research institution out to the Midwest. Anyway, my point is, you guys understand my point. I don't understand why this upsets so many people, but...
And I don't understand why we're getting comments about flipping or like how this opinion's changed. We haven't changed our opinion,
We haven't flipped at all.
I would love for someone to explain how exactly we've flipped our opinion, because I legit don't understand it.
Brett Burnett says, nice try, Monty. No way other schools giving up money to help FSU or any other team. It must create more value than payment received. So think about it this way. If Florida State and North Carolina, I'm just saying, two schools in the ACC, Clemson and Duke, all of a sudden join the SEC. You really don't think ESPN's going to pay more money for that? Or if there's only 3 conferences, 3 big 20-team conferences,
yeah,
let's
the
say.
P3s.
Right? Like if there's 3 20-team conferences, you don't think they're... Are you serious right now?
Come on, dude.
Come on. Patrick Bourne says Baylor goes. Of course they go.
Yeah, dude.
Patrick,
and by the way, I just want to say, not to cut you off, if you're a Big 12 fan and the Big 10's calling, why are you upset about that? Isn't that a good thing? Like, isn't that a positive growth point?
But the funny thing is, the fandom attached to these conferences is remarkable. If you're a Utah fan and the Big 12 calls, how many times have Utah fans been like, I'm not answering the phone. You guys are just, you're hacks. Trust me, bro, sources.
You hate Utah, you hate Rudy Gobert, and you hate the Utah Jazz too.
Right? Like it's always because God forbid, cheese and rice, we can't be in the same conference. We can't step down to the Big 12 to be with BYU. Well, I got news for you.
Name,
hey, man,
image, and likeness.
I got news for you. You're not stepping down. You're surviving. And you're making more money doing it.
God bless.
I don't understand this ego around conferences where Big 12 fans are like, you guys just hate the conference. Are you Utah fans? So let me get this right. Fan of any team.
Yeah.
If you're an Oklahoma or a Texas fan, you're just so upset they're leaving the Big 12. I can't believe it. I am no longer screw them horns. Like, just turn them down. Turn them down. To turn those horns down.
Forks down.
We are never leaving the Big 12. Horns down. Get out of here. You were jumping for joy to stick it to your brethren and be like, oh, we're out of here. And then you found out that Oklahoma was going with you.
Oh.
Stay hard.
I don't understand this whole thing about, oh, well, the Pac-12 is going to live forever. It's not. Like, what is the ego about attached to conferences? And when did that happen? Somebody explain that to me.
Can I give my guy Gumby? Okay, yeah, you get that one, then Gumby's.
Janine says 12 is safe because our truck stops carry a greater selection of DVDs and Blu-rays. That's amazing. Don't you love when you go into like a Flying J or you go into like an amazing truck stop and they've got like the CB headphones in there?
Yes.
You're like, okay, I'll take one of the CB headphones and can I get a bag of peach rings too, please? Thanks.
Can you do something for me?
Love it. All right, who'd you said Gumby? Gumby said stay hard.
No, there's one above.
There's so many
YouTube
comments.
hacks. Right there.
Okay,
A couple more right there.
2 hacks on YouTube. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you,
exactly
Gumby.
right.
I appreciate you calling us by the proper name.
Yes,
Thank you.
Proper nomenclature is hacks on YouTube, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Jay Chapman says, I'm a fan of both OU and Texas. Yeah, you're not. You're not.
There's no way.
see,
How does that happen?
Well, because I was talking to Barry Switzer in the airport when he was carrying a gun, and he was telling me that he has half a Brian Bosworth's jersey. And, you know, I was talking to Chris Sims, and he was telling me he's got half of Earl Campbell's jersey. And I sewed them together.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to figure something out.
And all of a sudden, I was like, Boomer Longhorn, let's do this. You're not a fan of both. You're not. There's just no way. There's no way that you like Kevin Durant and Jalen Hurts. It's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. He says, and I have no problem admitting I was over the moon when the news broke about going to the SEC. Of course you were. Of course you were.
What do I mean?
Of course you were.
Come on.
Euro or EU, the European Union, some USC fan says USC fans were a little sad. Then once they saw all the positives, we thought about how we can leave sooner. Yeah, well, because, I mean, it's got to be tough, you know, when you realize that, George Kliavkoff did all this math on the back of the envelope for you, and he wasted like 17 number 2 pencils, and then you figured out he was lying, and it was actually a really good move. And
that's pretty much self-explanatory.
Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman Trophy again and might actually give USC a quarterback who, you know, succeeds in the NFL. I know, we're getting crazy now. The DA says, don't forget the Swedish fish. Okay, best truck stop candy.
See?
Best truck stop candy. Might be a trail mix of some kind.
Yeah.
You know those bags that you get like 2 for $1?
Yeah, Mike and Ike's and Reese's Pieces.
Could be. It's probably Mike and Ike's. Yeah, what's your best truck stop? What do you buy at truck stops? Because I usually am buying Bucked Up. Because, you know, they're the official energy drink of the Monty program.
The Monty program.
You know, you can go to buckedup.com. You don't even have to go to a truck stop to get Bucked Up. You just go to buckedup.com, use the promo code Monty, and get 20% off. Don't take my word for it that they're the best in the business. Click the link in the description below, and you too can get free samples, 3 free samples. And I love that everybody is taking my advice. The Peach Ring BCAs are amazing. I drink them every morning. I work out at 5:30 every morning.
Facts.
At Vaza Fitness, and I have a scoop of Peach Ring BCAs, and they're the best tasting BCAs ever. And you can get a free sample if you click the link in our YouTube description below. Just click the link, friends. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And you too can get 3 free samples and a Bucked Up shaker cup just because you click that link. No strings attached. You hate it? You don't like the shaker cup? Okay, never go back. But what's going to happen, I promise you, you're going to love Bucked Up. If you go into any of Bucked Up's Utah locations, you tell them, hey, Monty said Miami's the best flavor.
Hey,
Well, what they're going to tell you is, Monty was right and we're sold out, bro.
Facts.
Because they're always sold out of Miami, right? So then you're going to get Mango Tango, and it's going to be all good.
Yeah.
And they're going to give you a free can too. The discount is not good in stores. You get a free can of energy drink in the stores.
Don't be a casual. Know how the codes work.
The discount code Monty is only good online at buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty to get 20% off your purchase. And I'm just telling you now, man, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Bucked Up is the official energy drink of the Monty Show. Jeremy Severe says, Huckleberry cordial made by Farrs. I can only find it in Idaho. Also a churro nut roll, but I'm weird.
Okay, I thought you just said a nut roll.
I didn't mean what's the best snack in the parking lot. Like a I don't know churro personally, and I have no idea how good his nut roll is. But I'm telling you, go inside and get a protein bar, bro. You know. Jackson Graham says, how to get the free sample. You just go click the link in the description below, dude. It's super easy. If you click that link, it takes you right to the free sample. So you really should be good to go. You know, I would...
you just click the link in the bio, and it takes you to where you need to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly right. That's exactly what I would tell you to do.
Yeah.
Jackson, I appreciate you doing that. Jackson, I'm hoping you're less upset now.
Jackson.
Jackson
did you
says
cool off
nerdy gummy clusters. What's a nerdy gummy cluster? Because I'm a huge gummy bear fan.
Okay, let's pull the old Google machine out.
I like it.
Nerdy gummy clusters.
I like it a lot. I do. Jeff Johnson says, gross, dude. What?
They're basically nerds just in a ball.
Okay. Again, I know you like things shaped in balls. Brent Burnett says the real question going forward is how long will it take before we expand to 32-team playoff? Too long.
How long until we have bracketology for football?
You know, it's gummy bears and nerds combined? Oh, Jackson, let's go. Let's go. Pepperoni rolls. Brian Hornbeck, the West Virginia fan, says pepperoni rolls. Now, the only problem with that is I don't eat pepperoni ever. Oh, I just kicked the cajoles out of my chair with my ankle bone. Oh, that hurts. Gumby says pecan logs.
Pecan.
Essay says end of the year top 25 means close to crap in today's world. That's very true. Levi Long says a box of Truly is the best truck stop. Okay. Snack main event says lemon. Oh, lemon heads.
Look at my boy Car Wash channel, bro.
To Jake and Monty, I don't wash cars. I just film car washes. I just post them on YouTube. Okay. That's cool. Ooh, man. Damn,
dude,
dog.
What are you doing under the table, bro?
This is what I get for wearing Dunk Lows today. I have on Dunk Lows. And I just kick the...
If you felt these balls...
Let's see. John says we saw last fall that Iowa scores 2 safeties and 1 field goal on South Dakota State. Money does not necessarily translate to offense. Better team, Iowa women's basketball or Iowa men's football? Go. Jaron Eccles says, my wife already stole my bucked up shaker cup.
Hey,
I told you.
Sweatshirts and shaker cups, huh?
What did I tell you? Sweatshirts.
What?
Are you a sweatshirt guy?
Well, yeah,
like,
obviously.
do you give a girl your sweatshirt?
Oh, that's like a well-accepted fact.
I cannot tell you, and I don't remember the girl's name, but I had knee surgery many years ago when I was like 17.
Think that's HIPAA?
My jagoff brother bought me an Air Jordan Flight or a Nike Flight pullover hoodie from Athlete's Foot.
Okay.
And I gave it to this girl, and he was so mad that I let this girl wear my hoodie. I don't know where that hoodie or that pullover jacket is. I never got it back.
Yeah.
He was so upset about that. You know. Keith Carl says, if Caitlin Clark could QB, look out.
Seriously, dude.
Iowa all day, man. SAA says, sorry, my comment are a bit late. I just realized I wasn't watching the show live. Come on. Be better.
Dude, you're being a casual, bro.
C. Kaufman says, that's why I'm hiding my shaker cup from my wife. Oh, my God. My wife does the dishes, so I can't hide it. You know. Let's go. Cody Strickland, have you guys talked about the ass fire of the Jazz yet? We have not. We'll do that in...
the ass fire?
We'll do that in 15 minutes. Strange Cloud says, still talking Pac-12. God damn. 12 minutes, man. Charlie Piazza gives us $1.99 to say, I love when people tip us. And they'll like make some crazy ass comment. Well, you know, leprechauns are real. They live under they live under the bridge on 7th East. I promise you.
Hey guys,
you guys should go check it out.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hey, yo, bro, you paid us $6.99 to say that. I know, because leprechauns are real.
It's a real thing, man.
Charlie Piazza. Are you related to Mike Piazza? Uh-oh. You think Utah Tech could ever make it to a P5? When will? They will. See, you play the laughing bomb. I'm telling you. I am telling you that you are sleeping on Utah Tech. I know.
If we're sleeping on Utah Tech, then y'all are sleeping on Prime. That's what I'm saying, bro.
I am just telling you now. After you click the join link that I just put in the chat, you go look at the facilities at Utah Tech and their recruiting. For where they are, I'm telling you, you are sleeping on them. I appreciate the $2 to prop them up. Rodney Durrett says, Pac-12 huge mistake was to spot on ESPN bid and go to the open market. I believe to spit on the ESPN bid and go to open market. I believe that is why ESPN is lukewarm now to bob on the PAC in open market. I just think the Pac-12 overvalued itself.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. I think George Kliavkoff is a terrible commissioner.
He didn't read the room, man. To be honest, I don't even think it really was about that they spat on the original ESPN offer. I just think they didn't read the room because the biggest problem is the Big 12 beat them to it. That's the biggest problem. I mean, if the Big 12 hadn't done their deal already, we'd be having a different conversation. We'd be talking Jazz already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the Pac-12 would be the powerhouse that they said they would be. But they're not, so they're not. You know, like it's a big freaking deal, man. I'm telling you that George Kliavkoff has killed this, has absolutely killed this conference. There is no doubt about that. Every time we talk college football, you should think about Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com, the very best barbecue equipment in the business. It's always at bbqpitstop.com. Stop by any of their 5 Utah locations from Logan, Layton, Lehigh, the Cheesy, St. George, and, of course, our good friends in Murray on State Street, right across from the mall. Barbecue Pit Stop's got it all, no matter what you need, whether you're a Traeger guy, a Big Green Egg guy. Hey, how about People Magazine naming Yoder smokers the people's choice? Oh, hook it up. They've got Yoder. I'm telling you, I'm a Traeger guy. Ironwood 885. The Ironwood XL looks phenomenal, the brand new Ironwood from Traeger. And I love that I can like color coordinate my whole smoking area. Mrs. Monty probably doesn't love that this spring we're going to have a big orange Traeger mat on the ground. We're going to have a cover. Like, I mean, I'm telling you.
We got it hooked up.
Pimps will pimp. And
I'm for real.
You know.
I'm for real.
You know. I'm just saying. It's going to be amazing. When you get to Barbecue Pit Stop, you're going to be in awe, but you can always shop online at bbqpitstop.com. And again, if you support small business and entrepreneurs, as we do on this show, all of our partners on this show are small business entrepreneurs. You look at guys like Barbecue Pit Stop, they're all individually owned and operated. They come together, they work hard, they grind every single day. That's why you should shop at Barbecue Pit Stop. Don't get your Traeger from a big box store. Go to Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Get your Traeger smoker. Get your pellets, your rubs, your sauces, your spices, bbqpitstop.com. We'll talk about Georgia defensive lineman Jalen Carter coming up in 2 minutes on Football at 50. T-Duck says George did nothing for a year but watch SC and UCLA leave. Facts.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely. Outside the echo chamber, you have a fireboard for that smoker yet? We do not. Do tell. Bob Holsey says Big Ten is as hung up on the academics as the PAC is. Maybe Kansas could get in from the Big 12. I don't think any other Big 12 school tempts them. I think if they want to get to 20, it's with Washington, Oregon, Stanford, and Cal. That's what makes the most sense. I just don't know that the Big Ten has an appetite to give up a penny at any of their institutions. And I think it's going to be very difficult to do that. And if you're Oregon and Washington, you're going to have to take a huge haircut, dude. Like, you're going to make so little money for so long, I don't know that it's worth it. And I think that's been the biggest issue with Oregon and Washington so far is that the Big Ten needs to go out and find a streaming partner. That's why this deal we're going to talk about in 10 minutes, there was a huge streaming announcement today. I don't know if you guys heard it. We'll tell you about it in 10 minutes. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big, big deal because what's going on in live streaming sports is affecting everybody in this room watching this show. The two of us, everybody that's a sports fan, your life as a sports fan changed today. I promise you, your life as a sports fan changed today.
Facts.
And I don't know how many people realize it. I don't know how many people want to recognize it. But I'm telling you, your life changed today.
Yep.
And if the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the SEC, I have to believe they're all going to get on board now because of what happened today. And sure, you guys will all tell me I'm crazy, but you watch when one person goes all in on streaming, others will follow.
Mm-hmm.
And I again maintain, and I don't think that Amazon has the appetite for it from what we've been told. But if I'm Georgie Poo in the Pac-12, I'm all in on Amazon streaming.
Yeah.
Every one of my games, Amazon Prime Sports. I'd go all in with it. They won't, but I'm telling you, it could be interesting. Outside the echo chamber said soon every team will stream on their own. T. Lawrence Gragston says no one is paying for pro New York sports individually, period.
Yeah, I disagree.
I totally disagree. Totally disagree. UJ4SC. JR4SC is your new name. Says Big already took a basketball school that happens to be the second largest market in the U.S. They don't need KU. There are bigger schools in bigger markets that check all the other boxes. It was simply a matter of example.
Yeah, dude.
If they called Kansas. Okay, well, if they called Jimmy's Technical Institute of Basketballing and said, hey, come get your $70 million payday, right? Like, pick the school you want, whether it's Kansas or somebody else. I bet they have better quarterbacks in the NFL than USC. Austin Apiersky says MSG Network to launch streaming services for Knicks and Rangers games. Talk about that in 9 minutes.